We all know what's happening to private landlords. They're literally being forced out of the market. So without further ado, let's get started. I came across this article today and it reads, Bouygues to build LSE's 2,000 bed London Bankside Tower. So they're building 2,000 student accommodations. Let's have a look at what the article says. The London School of Economics has teamed up with Bouygues UK Investors, Exuitix, to transform its Bankside house halls into nearly 2,000 student rooms across 3 landmark towers. This is when the big boys come together as a consortium where they can't do it alone. Let's move on. The scheme near the Tate Modern Gallery has been designed by Carmody Groark and Shepherd Robson, 2 of the best architects in the country, responsible for some of the most leading projects that this country has seen. It will replace the dated mid-century block with stepped buildings, 24, 26 and 28 stories. London is becoming a little bit more like New York when it comes to the skyline, linked by pavilions and wrapped around landscape courtyards. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, I believe that it's got its pros and its cons. It really depends on the location and also the quality of the developments. Some of the developments in Canary Wharf look quite cheap, Old Street as well. And then you have mavericks, which I call real developers, like Gerald Ronson, who is a real legend, who developed one of the best developments in my opinion, which is called Chiltern Place, just off Marylebone High Street. Subject to approval, yeah, right, by Southwark early next year, definitely. Demolition would start in 2027 with the Neo Bankside residence opening before September 2032. It seems as though there is a 2030 vision by most countries, and it seems to be that the rich will get richer and the majority will be renting and living in shoeboxes. Let's see. Julian Robinson, Director of Estates at LSE, the London School of Economics, said that the project was about more than accommodation, and I totally agree. It's purely about profits and also getting rid of private landlords. He said by delivering nearly 2,000 beds, not apartments, not homes, beds at submarket rents, I don't think so. We're easing pressure on London's housing market. Yes, I agree. London is under pressure with the housing market, but this is not housing. This is student accommodation. We need flats and we need houses, whilst ensuring talented students can live and thrive in the heart of the city. Let's be clear. There's 3 types of students. One is local London students that could live at home. The second is out of London students, which are UK students that need a place to rent, and there are overseas students where international families who can afford to send their kids overseas for studies can afford to usually buy a place too, which I'm going to share with you in a moment. Let's carry on. Sustainability credentials include an all-electric energy strategy, roof-mounted solar PV, solar panels, BREEAM, excellent targets and aspiration. BREEAM, what's that? Excellent targets and aspiration to passive horse performance, which is German, passive horse performance. Let's quickly look at what's BREEAM. An independent licensed assessor evaluates the project's performance based on its environmental impact throughout its life cycle. The assessment covers energy, water, health and well-being, materials, waste, transport. Basically, it's environmentally friendly and also looks at land use and ecology, protecting and enhancing biodiversity and land use, which is hedgehogs, bats and any other natural inhabitants that help the environment. Let's move on. What are the key principles of passive horse performance? You tell me, guys, what do you think? High insulation levels, provides excellent thermal performance, minimizing heat loss. EPC. Airtight construction, creates a continuous airtight building fabric to prevent drafts and air leakage. Do I need to continue or would you like a guess? EPC. High performance utilizes windows and shading to optimize comfort and energy. They've already said it themselves. Energy efficiency in both summer and winter. EPC. And a thermal bridge. aims to eliminate and minimize thermal bridges, gaps in insulation to prevent heat loss. EPC. So these two names, which sound quite fancy, Passive Horse and BREEAM, are simply energy efficiency and environmental. Let's move on. The last point, Bouygues UK Managing Director Oliver Campbell said, "We aim to provide a great student experience while being a good neighbour to the community of Bankside." Right, so there's the article. It's clear to see that there's another 2,000 homes coming to the student market in London, which means it's going to be driving out private landlords. It's going to be offering newer apartments supposedly at a cheaper rent than the public sector. I don't think so. What else have we got around Bankside? Well, it's on the south bank. Some of you may know Borough Market. Borough Market is also close by, and there's also Blackfriars and Waterloo. But what I can tell you is that it's not a family home residential location. In fact, it used to be offices which have now been converted into apartments that have been overpriced and sold to overseas investors who absolutely got robbed. One of the developments is called Neo Bankside. In 2013, it was launched in Singapore, Hong Kong and Malaysia. One bedroom flats were going for £800,000, two bedroom flats for circa 1.5 and £2 million, and that was in 2013. And I'm going to show you some of the prices that those apartments are being sold today at a loss more than 10 years later. A second development, which is a nice shaped building, which some of you may recognize as number 1 Blackfriars. Now, what's interesting here is that the starting price for these apartments started at £1 million, 990,000 just to be exact, and that was for what they call a Manhattan apartment. What's a Manhattan apartment? Basically, it's not a one bed and it's not a studio. It's in between. It's a studio flat, so you don't have a separate bedroom, but what you do have is what they call a spatial divider. You pull it across when you want to sleep. You've got a bit of privacy from the kitchen and the open plan lounge. You've got no windows, and that becomes a Manhattan style apartment, which they have probably in New York. Right, let me give you an example. In 2013, apartment 602 was purchased for £1.57 million, and in 2020, 7 years later, it was sold for less at 1.45. So the owner made a loss. There's another one here which was in 2014. Flat or apartment number 901 was bought for 2.236 million, and in 2018 it was sold for 2,053,000. And there's one more in February 2014. 706 sold for somebody bought it for 1.415, and in 2015 they sold it for £15,000 less than they bought it for. Let's move on to number 1 Blackfriars. Number 1 Blackfriars, unfortunately, the buyers are stuck. They just can't sell. There's one or two here that have been lucky enough to sell. In 2018, apartment 145 was purchased for 2.809, and in 2019, luckily they got out with a haircut loss of about £20,000. And this one here, 2018, apartment 162 was purchased for 1956, and in 2019, a year later, it was sold for 1.815. That's over £130,000 they lost in 1 year, but they were lucky to sell. There's some flats on the market at the moment with reduced prices in both developments, and the problem has just got worse because you've got 2,000 students moving in next door thanks to the London School of Economics. You can see that there's a big movement for private landlords. It's becoming harder and harder, and the big corporates are muscling in. And this is why I promote coming together as communities in order for you to be able to syndicate together and also buy property. That's what I believe. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment below and be part of the Streets of London community. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. My name's Monty from the Streets of London. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.